I take courage and inspiration from you to keep going. I'm 88 years old.
Several peaceful pro-Palestinian protests across the U.S. on various college campuses turned violent when the police were called in and then committed all the violence. I'm going to play for you this video that is incredibly infuriating, disturbing, but I'm also going to get to videos later on in this video that are positive. I want to end on a happy note because this is some heavy shit and it's worth addressing, but it's also worth showcasing a lot of the positive aspects of these protests. So first, this is the clip. This is from Emory University in Atlanta. This is an economics professor, Caroline Fohlin. Watch what happens here.
You people are fascists! You are Hitler! You are laughing dog! Shame on you! May you never live another day!
I am a professor!
This is an Emory professor, everyone!
I am a professor of economics!
That was economics professor Caroline Fohlin at Emory University getting tackled to the ground violently by the police after she was questioning the cops about what are they doing when they were using excessive force on another peaceful protester, a student. Then she gets tackled down and arrested. And what's incredible about this, apart from the video, is this. She was jailed for 11 hours and charged with battery against a police officer. We just saw the video. They completely made this up. As Sunny Singh writes here, white woman, world-renowned academic, brutalized by cops in full view of video cameras and arrested. They still lied on court records about the event. Now think how often cops lie about those without similar privilege. This tweet was great. This is bad. We should find out what country this is so we can invade it and establish a democracy there. If this was a video out of, I don't know, China, you would be hearing American lawmakers, generally Western lawmakers, come out and denounce it and discuss how, oh, look how violent the Chinese Communist Party is. Look at how they trample on free rights, free speech. Yet this is one example of many examples on a college campus where there are peaceful protesters, and then it turns violent because the police are called in. Now, there were many campuses that were not, the police weren't called in, and everything was fine. There were peaceful protests that are still ongoing on college campuses all across the U.S. where the police are not there. These protests are peaceful. Nothing's going on. There's no violence. The violence is taking place at the protests where the police are being called in because they're the ones committing the violence. So she was one of two, by the way, professors who were detained by the cops. And just to give you some more context here. So I believe I said this already. So this is in Atlanta at Emory University. The law enforcement used pepper balls and tear gas. The students set up the encampment of at least a dozen tents around 7:30 a.m. And by 11 a.m., the police department and the Georgia State Patrol came in with riot gear. A number of demonstrators were also affiliated with the Stop Cop City movement, which seeks to prevent the construction of a multi-million-dollar police training facility in the South Atlanta forest. Activists have linked the Cop City issue to the Palestinian cause because Georgia law enforcement participate in an exchange program with Israeli law enforcement. What a coincidence. One Emory professor, Pamela Scully, who witnessed the confrontation, called it horrific and likened it to what she'd witnessed police do to anti-apartheid student protests in South Africa. These protests that are going on in solidarity with Palestinians and the ongoing bombardment that they are facing, the ethnic cleansing they are facing from an apartheid Israeli government, these protests are right in line with protests against the Vietnam War, protests against South African apartheid, protests against the Iraq War. These protests are clearly on the right side of history. And you're having police get called in to break up these peaceful protests. Look, this shit looks bad now. It's going to become even more obvious to more people that aren't already convinced in, 10, 20 years. Just like how we look back now on protests against the Vietnam War and how clearly those activists were on the right side. But the people right now who are criticizing these students would have been those same people back then criticizing the students that were protesting the Vietnam War or protesting for civil rights. These exact same people who thought they were on the right side because they were for the status quo, perfectly fine with different people being treated differently, or perfectly fine with unjust wars, they would have been on the wrong side back then, and they're on the wrong side now. It's so frustrating because it is clear, and there's somehow a debate about who's right and who's wrong, when it is so very clear who's right and who's wrong that there shouldn't need to be any debate. This is another example. I'm not going to show the video because, again, it's disturbing. YouTube may pull this whole video down. But a student, again, peaceful protester, restrained on the ground by cops and at the same time being tased. While they are already restrained, they're being tased on the ground. Now, I'm going to end on some positive videos because I need to. Otherwise, this is all just too depressing. This is a great moment. It's shared by Tiffany Caban here. To get our students, you have to get through us. Incredibly inspiring courage and solidarity from these professors and a perfect emblem of why the right wing is dead set on defunding CUNY. So this is one of the peaceful videos. I also want to share this. This was a great moment on ABC 7.
Yeah, I'm here with Lázaro Abuelo. You are a father of a student at USC who's here. Tell me why you're on campus. You also said you're a Los Angeles resident.
I am here to support my daughter. She's studying here, and they're protesting against the genocide. And that's why I am against the genocide. My family is against the genocide. We think that no kid deserves to be killed.
But why did you come down to campus?
Yeah, because my daughter started organizing too. Says, hey, we have to support Palestine. And that's why I am here. Not only to support Palestine, we want the genocide to stop.
Do you know where your daughter is right now?
Right now, gotta be somewhere because the police start chasing all the students. As you see, they are threatening. If we don't leave the campus, we are gonna be arrested. But the students are so brave. Look at them. They don't want to leave the campus.
Does that concern you, though, as a father, that your daughter is somewhere?
Even though it concern me, but my daughter did the right decision. If she rather to be arrested fighting for Palestine, I will be the happiest daddy. I will be the happiest daddy if she's doing the right thing. And I know she's doing the right thing. If the police arrest me now, I am willing to go with the students. I have no problem because what I am doing is the right thing, fighting against a genocide. I have kids, not only the teenagers, I have a 7 years old, and I imagine being a father in Palestine to see my kid be assassinated by Israel. That's not good. We are humanity. This is not a matter of religion, political, no. We are humans. We cannot support any genocide.
Well, we will let you go and find your daughter, and I appreciate you talking to us.
Free Palestine, always.
Thank you for talking to us.
Peace with Palestine, always.
What an amazing father. Like, just absolutely incredible to see how much love he has for his daughter, how much he understands this issue. This obvious fight for human rights that he is on the correct side of. And how he keeps turning the conversation to that as well. So we shared this video during the podcast that I was on yesterday, and Matt Bender brought up how, notice how the father keeps steering the conversation back to what is important here, and that is Palestinian rights. And it just so wonderful to see this. Last video of hope here. This is a Holocaust survivor and an activist, and listen to her story.
I am a Holocaust survivor. I do not deserve applause. I am here because I experienced as a child every single thing that a child is experiencing on a daily basis, including the loss of my family, including war, firebombing, and you name it. It pleases me to no end to see that you are here. I take courage and inspiration from you to keep going. I'm 88 years old. I am a civil rights activist. When I came to America as an almost 17-year-old in New York City, I discovered America. I discovered the racism, and I became an activist against war, justice, and I'm here as a peace activist. We need to bring this to an end. There is no excuse for the slaughter of 15,000 children and untold others. We have to act with peace and love. And I am proud to be here with you, and I hope you will continue. We are on the side of justice and peace.
What an absolutely beautiful individual. An 88-year-old woman, a Holocaust survivor, somebody who deeply understands this issue, a lifelong activist, standing up here in solidarity with these students at this peaceful protest. Notice, I don't see any cops here. This is what happens at these protests when the cops are not called in. These stories are shared. People standing up with one another, fighting for human rights. This is the narrative that is often being lost in a lot of the coverage on what is happening. On, the focus is so much on the violence and this fake narrative that these protests are so violent that the police had to be called in. When, of course, as I showed you an example earlier, it's the opposite. The police are called in, and they're the ones initiating and creating the violence. This is what happens when the police aren't there.